Hello and welcome back to DocTrack Administrator Training. For this lesson, we're going to finish our look at the DocTrack Parameters form. The next section refers to email settings that are required if you intend for DocTrack to automatically email reports, such as purchase orders, invoices, or customer order verifications. These settings are also used to configure the Hold Emails in Drafts folder feature, which we'll cover later. If you'd like to maintain all email settings for DocTrack in this form, you can do that by selecting the first option. This will enable the other fields in the section. Then the choices you make here will apply to both report distribution and the Hold Email feature. On the other hand, if you've already configured your email settings in the intranets form, then you'll probably want to select the second option. Then both report distribution and the Hold Email feature will be managed by that form. That way, you'll only need to maintain your email settings in one place when you need to make changes. Selecting this option will disable the other fields. Now, if you use Office 365 for your email service, and you're interested in using the Hold Email in Drafts folder feature, then you'll need to select the third option. This will enable the other fields, which will be used for the Hold Email feature only. Let's take a moment to look at the email section. With SMTP, email is sent using Microsoft Exchange. With Exchange, there is no Sent folder to verify an email was sent. So if you'd like to maintain copies of your outgoing DocTrack emails, add a CC or carbon copy email address to the CC field on the DocTrack form output profile. We'll show you how to do this in a later lesson. If you use MAPI, then email is sent with Microsoft Outlook from the server where DocTrack polling is running. The outgoing message will appear in the Sent folder. For this to work, Microsoft Outlook must be open at all times on the server where DocTrack polling is running. Because of this, we normally recommend using SMTP for the email method. The rest of the fields are the same as those you'd find on the intranets form. If you need assistance with these settings, you can refer to the appropriate Infor and Microsoft documentation. The next section includes settings required if you want DocTrack to fax reports automatically to customers or vendors. VisiFax software is required for any faxing operation within Sightline. Configuring VisiFax to work with both Sightline and DocTrack is beyond the scope of this course. If you'd like more information about faxing, you can refer to the VisiFax manual. In the DocTrack polling section, enter the SQL server name where the DocTrack polling database resides. For the database name, enter DocTrack polling, or if the name was changed at installation, enter the new name that was assigned to it. If you store files in SharePoint, it's possible that those files can be attached to Sightline records too. If they are, then DocTrack polling will need to access them when a bundling request is made. To make sure that DocTrack polling has that access, enter the appropriate credentials here. The username and password entered must allow read access throughout the entire SharePoint environment. Typically, this would require an administrator's credentials. If you've already entered this information and need to change it, click Clear Credentials. If these fields are left blank, DocTrack polling will attempt to use the Windows credentials of the user that's running DocTrack polling on the utility or web server. Next, if you have Infor's PLM module, you'll complete this section so that it can interface with DocTrack. Next is the Click Once section. The field labeled virtual rule web service URL is for companies that are set up to run virtual rules on web clients. As we saw in an earlier lesson, you can find this URL by publishing the file system web service. This is a required field if you selected web service in the Run Virtual Rules From field. If you plan on using DocTrack mass scanning, then the URL for the mass scanning Click Once client should be entered here. This will allow the user to open that application up from within Sightline. How you find this URL will vary depending on your server operating system. In my operating system, I go to Start. Then under the Infor folder, I right-click DocTrack Mass Scanning and select Open File Location. Next, I'll right-click DocTrack Mass Scanning, select Properties, copy the URL address, and then paste them to this field. The security device URL is required for registering the security device you'll be using with the DoD Trade Secrets extension in DocTrack. This feature is not covered in this course. Finally, if you want to use DocTrack with cloud accounts, you'll need to enter the URL for the DocTrack Cloud Explorer here. You'll find it when you start the DocTrack Polling Web Server Configuration Manager. Well, that's all for now. Join us next time when we look at setting up DocTrack Flex. See you then.